Screen share. All right, so our goal for today, today's gonna be a, let's say, weird one, being that I know tomorrow we're gonna meet again because of the SEL day, which is gonna be a no work day. So today's kind of like an extra day where we can finish up today's notes. Now, I'm not sure where we stopped because I think we had a different stopping point than period number 2. Okay. So, if memory serves. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let me clear. 'Cause I think for one class we went a little further. All right. I will. All right. That's where I thought we stopped as well, but. Now for 9, did we do these problems for 9 or did we skip those?
The 2?
We did only A.
Only A, so we didn't do B or C.
No, we practiced.
Okay. All right. So we're at a similar point. Good pass? Okay. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to start here because these are the problems. Now, what we did was the homework assignment, there was thing or two. Okay, let's hide those phones once and for all. Yes. 'Cause I don't think you want to lose your phone for the rest of the day.
Well, we just do C and D.
Yes. We're going to be working on C and D today. These are going to be some of the most important problems that we're going to be doing. Now the proportions, this is step 1. These types of problems, we're going to be dealing with off and on again between now and the end of the year. Do you have your notes from last class? All right. All right. So whenever we solve proportions, you're going to do your cross multiplication. And that's what we did earlier. When we went up here. Oh, zoom out. Sorry about that. We did our cross multiplication. The way we get our proportion, we have to figure out whether or not it's true. Do your diagonal multiplication. So 6 times 1, 3 times 2. Check to make sure they're the same. They're the same. Good to go. That's similar. Then there were some of these problems where they're written as colon. With the colon, we write as a fraction. You write them as a fraction. Then you do your cross multiplying. So that's what we're going to do. We do our cross multiplying, and then after we do that, check to make sure both sides are true. All right, now you can have variables. You will need to solve for the variable. So for problems like these, you're going to do something similar to before. You're going to do your multiplying diagonally. So for instance, 4 times 10, what do we get when we multiply 4 times 10? 4 times 10, 40. And then what about 5 times x? Well, for now, 5 times x is just 5x, right? Now remember, the equal sign, you have to bring down. Always bring down that equal sign, keep it in the middle. That never changes. Then, what you do, you gotta divide by 5 on both sides. And in the end, we get x equals 8. And then you could always check it. Because with your calculators, if you do 4 divided by 5, type in 4 divided by 5, what would you get? You type them in the calculator, 4 divided by 5. Yep, 4 divided by 5, what would you get? It does 0.8. What about 8 divided by 10? What would you get? 0.8 as well. So that's a way you can check whether or not the two sides. Once you find this value, that's one way to check. If you get the same value when you divide both sides, you should be good to go. All right. So far, any questions? This next problem looks a little different, only because of how it's written. Now, anytime we have a blank, what can we always fill the blank with? Anytime you need a variable,
X.
or what an x. So for these types of problems, if you see a blank, put in with an x. Then, what you can do, I'm going to write it above. You can rewrite these ratios as fractions. So for instance, a 4 over 7 equals, now, with the x, is that going to be above or below the fraction bar? Be above. And then the 35, where's 35 going? Denominator. Remember, the first number is always numerator, second number always denominator. Now, you're back to a problem that looks like that. I want you all to try to solve it real quick if you have not yet done so. Give you a minute to solve that problem. It's the exact same steps. And I think this is where we stopped. And then in a moment, I will ask what value we have for x. And these are going to be a lot of these problems that we're going to be doing are going to be like this type. All right, anybody get a value of x?
20.
Jason said 20. Agree or disagree with the 20? Agree. Not that phone. All right, who's not sure how we got the 20? Raise your hand. Be honest. It's okay if you were honest. Okay, so here. X times 7, what times 35? 7 times x. 7x, we agree, right? Equals. What did we get when we multiplied 4 times 35? 4 times 35 is 140. Okay, good. Then, what's our last step? We divide both sides by 7. So we have an x is 20. Good. Questions? Now the next two problems that we're going to do, they don't have just an x. There's a little more to it, but not a whole lot, but a little more. And I'll show you what we mean by a little more. All right. Everybody, ready? Here we go. Number 3. Now, for part C rather, and this is going to be the same for D. Anytime you see more than one term, either in a numerator, denominator, put parentheses around it. That's going to be step 1. When you see something like this, always put parentheses. Not so much if you see just a single x, because you're just multiplying the expression up here by x. But right away, anytime we're dealing with proportion, put parentheses. Got to do that right off the bat. All right, now, this is what you have going on. Now you're going to be back to where you were before. You're going to do your diagonal. And when we do our diagonals, well, of course, what's 5 times x? That's 5x. We're left with 5x. Now, when we do this part, the 4 times x plus 3. Or x plus 12, very good. You got to distribute. So it's not just 4x plus 3. No, it's 4x plus 12. You need to distribute. That's the key step for these sets of problems. That's why I tell everybody, put parentheses before you make your first move. Now this one's not going to be too bad, because you're only going to need one step to solve for the x. Because when we have these sets of problems, there's your x term, there's your x term. Now, we need to move a term. In this case, there's only going to be one term we need to move. Who could tell us what's that one term we need to move? Got to do the minus 4x on both sides. Minus 4x on both sides. So the good thing is, well, what's 5x minus 4x? It's just plain old x. And then, what was left on the left side of the equal sign? Just plus 12. So it's 12 equals x. That was the result. Now at this point, I mean, you can plug it in, check. Because if you plug in the x, check real quick, you can see that you're going to get 4 over 12 equals 5 over 12 plus 3. Now if you check 4 over 12, what's it's going to be the same as 5 over, well, what's 12 plus 3? You don't need to do this part, but what's 12 plus 3?
15.
15. You can always check though. And 5 over 15 would be the same as 4 over 12. So you can always check it. You should get the same result. Is that true or false? You're going to get decimals, and it's going to be a repeat. But in the end, these two are going to be the same. And you can also do your cross multiplying. You can always do your check. Cross 4 times 15, 5 times 12. You should get the same number. You can always check it that way too. All right, questions? But that's a surefire way. Now this part I'm going to erase for now. But I'll let you copy it down. Give yourself a second. Copy it down. And we go on. Okay, anybody, any questions? Okay, moving on. Okay, I'm going to erase this for now. I'm going to need more room later. Let's see. This other problem. Okay, just like before, do your setup. Do your. That's not good. There we go. Your diagonal multiplication like before. Here's your setup. Now, just like we did before, what do we have to do? Do your distribution. You have 2n plus 5, well, 2 times n plus 5 What does this really become? What's 2 times m?
2m.
2m. What's 2 times 5?
10.
So rather than 2m plus 5, it's 2m plus 10. Again, this is the most important step of the whole problem. Here, 3 times m, do the same thing. What's 3 times m?
3m.
And then what's 3 times 1?
3.
3. Okay, now, we're down basically to 2 steps. Go all this over real quick. Now, back to where we were before. These are the types of problems you should be able to do. Been doing these for a while. But for some of us, watch our steps. We're still making mistakes. As I saw on the quiz. We're making mistakes on these. Or the test, I should say. All right, let's look at this problem real quick. Who can tell us what would be one step we need to take to solve for m? Who can tell us what we need to do?
Subtract 2m from both sides.
Minus 2m. Minus 2m. What was that? The 10 equals, what's 3m minus 2m?
M.
And then bring down to plus 3. Now really we're down to one final step. What's that one final step? Minus 3. All right, I'm going to put that over here. Oops. Minus 3. Minus 3. Let me raise that up a little. Everybody see this.
That won't equal 7.
Yep, m should be 7 in the end. So we should have m equals 7 in the end. Okay, questions? So once you get here, then it should be downhill. Now, for a lot of these problems, we're going to have to start labeling, and labeling well. Once we label these problems and label them correctly, and you get that set up with your proportion, it should be easy peasy the rest of the way. It's a matter of getting that proportion set up. Once you have it, you follow the steps, the item multiplication, stuff your variable, you should be set. So basically, if you understand what's going on here, the rest of today's activity, piece of cake upside down. And that homework that I gave everybody from last week, again, if you understand what's going on here, once you get your setup, you're home free. All right. Let's look at some of these problems going forward. All right, let's look at this first problem. Now, right away we're going to set up. This is going to help us set up our proportion. So let's look at each part separately. First off, how can we rewrite that AB to BC as a fraction? We're going to set up as a proportion. How can we rewrite AB to BC as a fraction? What's going to go on top? What's going to go on the bottom? Be careful. Okay, where's that fraction bar? The colon represents a fraction. Okay, so we're going to get 2 over 5. So that part's okay. Going back here. You take both letters. It's going to be AB over BC. So you got to take both letters. Take both letters. Because since we're dealing with sides, with triangles and polygons, the 2 letters make up that side. That's the most important part. Now, once you get that part, well, look at our diagram. Use this, or use your diagram to fill in A, B, and B, C. So, if we look at our diagram, what side is represented by AB? What value or variable? Use a diagram. So for this part, it's X. So, diagram. That's how we're going to go to the next step. AB is X. What's how AB is represented by X? Over, well, BC X over 20 is going to be 2 over 5. BC is represented by 20, so you replace the BC with 20. Equals. Now are we at a point where we can solve for the X? Can we solve for X at this point in the game?
Yes.
Do it. Give you a quick minute. Knock it out. So once you're here, I'll have you knock it out. Get that agenda set up. And then anything you miss, get from a neighbor. Anybody find that value of X? It is. X is going to equal 8. Very good. Yep. Because in the end, kind of did a problem similar to this. 5 times X, 2 times 20. Oh, give me 1 second. Oh, you have something left. I got it. In the end, you have 2 times 20 equals 5 times X. And 40 equals 5X. So then X would equal 8. Okay, questions? Any questions up to this point? Let's look at the next one. Oh. Anybody still need to write down? Anybody still need to get 11A? Good? Good? Christian? Good? Got it, Edwin? Anna, you good too? All right. 11B is going to be similar to 11A. Here, MN, MO. What's our setup? Which side's going on top? MN or MO? Which one? Look at our official. And N's going on top. Well, here's N over here, so. MN. And then MO on the bottom. Well, they say the ratio of MN to MO is 3 to 4. 3 over 4. Now, here's the key step. Use the diagram. What's going to go in place of the MN? Look at our diagram. What expression or number is represented by MN? Look where MN is located. 9. MN is 9. Over MO. Well, what expression is MO? MO is what expression? X plus 2. And that equals 3 over 4. Now, what did I tell everybody regarding whenever we see an expression, what should we put around them? That's exactly what you need to do. Parentheses. 9 over x plus 2 equals 3 over 4. That's what you need to do. And then we do our diagonal multiplication. So you have 3. I'm going to rewrite it over here. 3 times x plus 2 equals 9 times 4. But what's 9 times 4? Who can tell us what 9 times 4 is? 36. Exactly, Zoe. And then with the 3 times x plus 2, remember, what property must we use to simplify that, get rid of that parentheses? Begins with a D. What property? Distributive property. So what's 3 times x? 3 times x is 3x. And then what's 3 times 2? Plus 6. All right. Now I want you all to try to find x at this point. So give me a minute or two. Look for the x. Yep, you got it. I know you got it, Andy. That's good, Alex. So you got it, Joe.
Okay, okay, keep going. You almost said it. And you got it. Annalie, that's very good. I know you got it. All right, Edmund, real quick. Knock it out. What you get for the X?
Give you all about 30 more seconds because most of us got this. Whoever did it, you got it. And I think going forward with some of these problems, like if we understand how we got these, I'm going to spend less time explaining how we get the X because we've done these such a problem 20 times. We need to worry about making the connection. Because once you get the connection, you know how to solve for the X. This is Algebra 1 material. What did we get for X? Who could tell us? Anybody, raise your hand. So, Jason said 10.
What questions?
11B.
Yeah, X is 10.
Yup. And most of us got it. Most of us got the X equals 10. So, at this, going forward, I'm going to spend less time on the steps. I'm going to spend more time on the connection. That's what we really need to understand. Because if you understand how to solve the equation, I don't want to spend as much time. I want to spend more time making a connection. Getting that set up. Okay, any questions on this one? So, 11B, X is 10. That's what we get. All right? All right. So, the bottom problem, that one was a little wordy, a lot more wordy than we needed it to be. So what happened was, really, all you need to know for this part, and it looked like some of us were already working on it. Ratio of L to M is 5 to 4. That's the first part. So, how are we, given this sentence right here, set up our proportion? L to M, Lm to Mn. How are we going to set up the first part of our proportion? Oops.
5 over 4
Okay, you're going to get 5 over 4.
equals 15 X.
All right, in the end, that's what's going to be very good. 5 to 4 equals 15 over X. All right, here's how Des got this, and she's 100% correct. Now, up here, they're going to say L to M, Lm, Mn is 5 over 4. Now, you are allowed to switch. You can put the 5 over 4 equal to Lm over Mn. That's legal. That's a 100% legal move. You can take, it's sort of like saying 5 dimes is equal to 2 quarters. If I put the 5 dimes in the 2 quarters, if I switch, do I still have the same amount of money? Yeah, that's basically what's going on here. And now at this point, you have your proportion. You can solve for this. So give you all a minute to knock that problem out, and then we're going to work on the problems on the back. I'll check to see how. So basically, you know what's going on up there. You should not got that problem without any problems. Not sure, let me know. But yeah, try that one real quick. Because if you were able to get 11B, that problem should be very easy. Yeah, you got it. I know you got it, I know you got it. All right, so remember, do your crisscross. Do your crisscross. And no, I am not gonna sing jump, jump. I am not a singer. I can't believe it, that's 30 years ago already. Crisscross. Did you get that last problem? Good. All right, you got it as well. Good. Okay, you still working on it? Going on. Give me some. Yeah, you got it. Very good. Good job. All right, did you get it? All right, real quick. Remember, what's 4 times 15? We get when we multiply 4 times 15. 4 times 15 is 60 equals. What does 5x? And then in the end, what's x going to equal? X equals 12. So what was the side that was the 12? Let's make sure we know what side was the 12. Is it LM or MN? Remember, LM they gave us. So what was the other one? You're on the right track. So what's our other side? N. That's right. So the x equals 12. That's in. That's in N. He's going forward. That's going to be another thing. When you give answers, you're going to have to attach what the answer represents. It represented x, which is good, but what did the x represent? The x represented an n. That's where we're going with this. All right, questions. Questions on this problem? Yeah, the ones on the back is basically you already have your setup. Some of it we might have to do a little bit of work. I'll show you. Now, for instance, number 12, they already gave you your setup. AB over BC equals EF over FG. So we're told we need to find EF. And they gave you the majority of it. So for this first problem, you're going to use this setup right here. Because what is AB? We found, look at our triangle. What side is 21 is AB. We're going to use that diagram. And then BC is going to be 6. Now I'm going to tell you one thing about these diagrams. They're going to sometimes make sides look longer than they really are. Or they're going to make sides look shorter than they really are. And that's what all diagrams are going to follow. So AB, we found out is 21. Over BC, which is, we just said it. So AB, BC, and then for this one,
EF, that's an X, we don't know it. FG, we know is 4. Do we have enough information to solve for the X? All right, real quick, knock that out. You got a quick minute to knock that out. And then also now you might be going forward, you might want to color code everything. Oops. That'll give you an idea on which side matches with which other side. So yeah, that's all you do. So for this one, that's all you're gonna do. You have 6 times X. And what's 21 times 4? 84. So you're left with 6x equals 84. And now you just solve for the x. Next page. All right, very good. What'd you get, Edwin? That's right. Well done, sir. And this is 14. We divide both sides by 6. X is 14, and you're on your way. And 14 is EF. So don't forget. What does the X represent? It represents EF. Questions? Okay, the next one might be a little tricky. However, it's not so bad because we're going to do our labeling. All right. Oh, you know what? This was a mistake. Time out. Time out. Okay, this one's going to be a little different. We gotta do a little work to this. This should have been. You know what? I wrote this wrong. This should be. All right, you know what? Let's work it out. I got an idea. Actually, I'm gonna fix this up a little. I'm gonna rewrite the proportion. Because we didn't get to this part yet. Here's our new proportion. So disregard this. It's gonna be actually keep the bottom. The tops are gonna switch. I'm gonna switch the tops. Rather than Q you want the top is SU. Rather than RV on the top, it's TV. Now, there is a way we could have done it with everything that was given to you, because it would have been the entire length. But we'll get to that one in a little bit. So the new proportion is going to be SU over QS TV over RT. Now, do we know what SU is on the top? Do we know what SU is yet? What can we do? Well, what can we do? What can we put here for now? What can you put here? We don't know it. We put an X. Now you have your setup. With SU, now they flipped it a little. Which in the end, you could have gotten away with. Because if you flipped it, you flip that one, you'll still get the same result. But we're just going to follow what we see. So SU, we didn't know. But SU is an X. Do we know what QS is? What's QS? 6 equals, what's TV? TV is also
6.
over RT, which is,
4.
all right, do we have enough information to get our X? Yup. Take care of that one. So if you take care of that one, get the X. And we're gonna see something like that towards the end in a little bit. Yeah. Where's your agenda? What do we get for X? This is gonna be 9. So that's about your best you. Now, what might happen? Here's what would have happened. You would have, if you had to do the original, it would have been the entire distance. You would have had to add them up. Okay, in the back, that's where you're gonna fill out your pass. In the back, like there's a section in the back. That's where you, because what would have happened if it was the original QU and RV, you would have had to add them up. But anytime we have an unknown, this is what I want everybody to understand. You have an unknown, fill it with an X. If you don't know what the side is, that's an X. All right. 'Cause I think the next couple are going to be in a similar situation. All right, club. And now I'm looking at it. Okay, you're going to see the 14. This one's not going to be too bad. Because the only thing that's missing is BD. Well, if we don't know what BD is, what can we always put for BD? All right, now, what's going to be the setup for our proportion? 20 over X, 16, 9. That's okay. I knew you were going to get a decimal with this one. And that's fine. No, I don't think it is either. Because you are going to get that. Yeah, memory serves. Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to be a terrible one, but yes. Very good, Des. What if you get a decimal? That can happen here, ladies and gentlemen. This problem in particular. You will get a decimal. But again, I like this. You knew that AB was 20. BD we didn't know. That's an X. AC we knew was 16. And she's getting it all from the diagram. CE, 9. There's your proportion. Do your setup. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 16x. It's 180. That part we should know by now. And then, who got an answer for X? 11.25. Got that too? This is going to be 11.25. Yeah, there's going to be times you will get decimals. You can't hide from them. Fractions, can't hide from them. Okay, questions on that one? like most of us got that one. If you do have questions about it, say something. You don't copy down. You gotta copy down, but understand.
15 is impossible.
Yeah, that's going to be because. All right, let's talk about 15. Here's what we have going on. 15 can be a little different. Well, actually, we do need to talk about 15. Because
You have to find PR.
you have to find PR, but that's easier than you think. PR is 20. Here's why we got the 20 for PR. Because that's them entire distance. Sometimes they're going to give you the entire distance in a certain part. You need to find out what's missing. This part right here, PR, is 30 minus 10. 30 is the entire distance from P to T. But P to R, that's 30 minus 10, which is really, what's 30 minus 10? Valerie, Zoe, you agree 30 minus 10 is 20? Okay, again, there, not on those screens. PR is 20. So there's going to be problems where you're going to have to be careful. Are you just getting a portion or the whole thing? Or do they give you the whole thing? You need to find a portion. Now, this is not going to be bad at all. Because now you can substitute. Because what is PQ? Well, we know what PQ is. That is 16. PQ is 16. QS is X. Yep. Equals what's PR? 20. RT is 10. Now you should be able to solve for X. Now it's going to be very easy. Yeah, you should get a whole number for this part. Because I think originally we did 30 over 10, 16 over the X. That's probably what we got the decimal. Yeah, X is going to be 8. So you're going to use this part. But again, this step right here, that's step number 1. You got to be careful here. And then, of course, once you get everything, there you go. 20x equals 160. X is 8, but 8 is QS. And is that what we need to find?
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Now, real quick with the geometric mean, this one's going to be slightly different. Well, before we get to it, does anybody have any questions on these types of problems here? It's all about getting your setup. What's that? What is that? Not so much. But what's going to happen is when we go to the next unit or two, geometric mean is going to be where they're going to. I'll draw you a diagram to best explain it, because what's going to happen, you're going to have a triangle. It's going to be, you're going to have a right triangle, but then you're going to have another smaller right triangle, where this side might be a hypotenuse for the little triangle, but it's going to be a leg for the big triangle. So yeah, it's going to get a little crazy. But what's going to happen is, since some of these are going to share sides, that's where the geometric mean is going to come into play. And the other part is, know your square roots. So when the calculator, you're going to have to know where the square root button is. And I'll show you where that is on this calculator. Now, for these 4 problems, basically what's going to happen, you're going to use, and I'll let you try this, and I'll give you my next instruction in a minute. Basically, you're going to use either one of these 2 proportions, and you're going to label the following. That's an A, B. You can do that for, what I would do, label for all of these. A, B, A, B. Almost. But look at the order of the second one. Here's the best way to set them up. And then at this point, once you get it set up, you really don't need them in the end. But yeah, it'd be x over 2, a over x. Now, really, to make your life real easy, for all of these, what I would do, I'll right away put the x's diagonal. That's your setup right away. So, Catherine, you really want to look at this part. Okay, here's what's going to happen. When we go back, we'll do the first one, and then I'll have you try the others. So right away, anytime you see the geometry mean, here's right away how you should set up your problem. Now, going back to the first one. So A and B, you can put A here, B up here. But remember, A and B have to be diagonal. So I'll write it this way. X over A, B over X, or A over X, X over B. Okay, here's what's going to happen. I'll do the first one. You all can try the others. The first one, once you get your setup, now you don't need the parentheses unless if I tell you otherwise. But here's what's going to happen. Do your diagonal like before. So what's 2 times 8? Who can tell us what 2 times 8 is? 16. 16 equals, now what's, careful, is it 2x or what's x times x? Careful, x to the x to the second power. X times x is x squared. But this isn't so bad, because now it's just a matter of square roots. So now, get the square root. Think about what number you multiply by itself to get 16. What number times itself gives you 16? All right, I got another idea. Here's how you're going to find the square root. In your calculator, can I borrow yours for a second, please, Emily? You're going to touch the math button. Actually, no, you're not. I'm sorry. No, you're going to hit the second button. And see where it says x squared? So first you hit the blue button. No. So don't even touch. That's my fault. I was going to give you the cube root. The square root. Hit the blue button, the second button. And then see where it says x squared? So you go there 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. Hit the x squared. Yeah. Hit that button. And then you see something. In the end, it's going to be 4. You're going to see something that looks like this. And you're going to fill in a blank. Fill the blank in with 16. Then you hit your enter. It's 4. In the end, the way to get the 4, you got to take the square root. Square root. So the square root of 16 would be 4. And then x squared, the square root of x squared, is just going to be x. Boom, there you go. That's how you do these types of problems. Okay. You might not. You should get a whole number here. You're gonna get a whole number here. You should get whole numbers for these x's. So have you tried the others? Well, basically, on your calculator, and then I'll put the x's up momentarily.
Oh, the last one was
All right, let's look at the last one. Yep. Yeah, x.
Never mind, I did it wrong.
All right, that's okay. You have x over 9, 16 over x. And then 16 times 9. You're 144. Oh, is equal to x squared? And then we're going to tell us what the square root of 144 is. Bullseye. Well done, Alex. Square root. All right, here's what I want to do. Okay, at this point, I'll give you the x values for the other two. Try them. Try them because here try the other two. I'm going to give you the answers. At this point, I'm going to go. For the rest of the period, you have a couple options.